So first we start with a simple 2 time period panel data. We do not look at, here we had said, here we had looked at 82, 83 and so on till 88. But first, in order to understand it at a simple level, we start with 2 time periods. So fatality rate IT is equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 beer tax IT plus beta 2 ZI. Now look at this, plus UIT. You will notice that fatality rate has a subscript I and T for the ith entity at the tth time. Beer tax has a subscript of I and T for the ith entity and the tth time. It is changing across entities and it is changing across time. But ZI, while it is changing, it has only a subscript of I. It is changing across entities, but it is not changing across time. It is staying constant over time. That this is what is being said here. ZI is a factor that does not change over time, say traffic density or culture, at least during the years on which we have data. Suppose ZI is not observed, so its omission could result in omitted variable bias. The effect of ZI can be eliminated using t equals to 2 years. Let us see how that can be done. So basically, when we have only 2 years, we are, instead of modeling the absolute values of traffic fatality rate and beer tax, we will model the change in traffic fatality rate from 1 year to the next and the change in beer tax from 1 year to the next. So this is what we are doing. Any change in the fatality rate from 1982 to 1988 cannot be caused by ZI, because ZI by assumption does not change between 1982 and 1988. So basically what we are saying is any change in beer tax over time will, of the ith entity on the fatality rate, change in fatality rate of the ith entity over time cannot be caused by ZI, because ZI does not change over time. So we have fatality rate I 1988 specified as beta 0 plus beta 1 beer tax I 1988 plus beta 2 ZI plus UI 1988. Again, fatality rate I 1982 is beta 0 plus beta 1 beer tax I 1982 plus beta 2 ZI plus UI 1982. So suppose after taking into account beer tax and ZI, whatever error you have, that is completely random. Okay, it has random and it has zero mean. As if you remember, one of the necessities for one of the assumptions for performing OLS is that your conditional mean, given that you have included whatever conditional mean of the error term after including all the other terms, the conditional mean of the error term should be 0. So this is what we are saying. Expected value of UIT given beer tax IT and ZI is equal to 0. So if you subtract this equation 1982 from this equation 1988, that is 1988 minus 1982, it eliminates the effect of ZI, because these two terms cancel out and beta 0 also cancels out. So what do we find? We find fatality rate I 1988 minus fatality rate I 1982 is beta 1 beer tax I 1988 minus beer tax I 1982. Notice that beta zeros have cancelled out and beta 2 ZIs have cancelled out, and error term UI 1988 minus UI 1982, this is what you have it left over here. Now see, UI 1988 conditional mean given these two is 0. The conditional mean of UI 1982 given these two is 0. So this minus this, the conditional mean of that will also be 0 given beer tax 1988 minus any arithmetic operation on that will also lead to the conditional mean being 0. Okay. So this difference equation, now we have a difference equation, fatality rate minus fatality rate 1982, 1 year minus the other year is equal to beta 1 beer tax 1988 minus 1982. The omitted variable ZI doesn't change, so it cannot be determinant of the change in Y. So what do you do now? This difference regression doesn't have an intercept. It is eliminated by the subtraction step. So basically what you are doing is, if you were to look at over here, what you do is you include another variable. So you include, when you are looking at only 2 time periods, you include a change variable. So you do del y it del x1 it. Okay. And basically you say del y del y I 1983 minus 1982 and 1983 minus 1982. So you have 2.8% minus 3%, that is minus 0.2%, and 1.6% minus 1.4%, you have plus 0.2%. Similarly, if you had over here 2.4% and you had over here you had 2% and you had 1.7%. So you would have 2.2 to 2.4, you have 0.2% and you have minus 0.3%. So now you are creating another changes dependent variable. This is your new dependent variable. This is your new independent variable, and you can regress del y over del x1 and you can get your new equation. So let us look how this happens. So if you were to not do the changes data and you just use 1982 data, cross-sectional data, and you regressed fatality rate over Beer tax, you would have 2.01. The estimated equation is written like this. Fatality rate that is estimated is 2.01 plus 0.15 into Beer tax. Okay. So the standard error for beta 0 is 0.15. The standard error for beta 1 is 0.13. And you will notice that this is not statistically significant because 0.15 by 0.13 is not 1.96. But it had to be statistically significant at a 95% confidence interval. It needs to be equal to or greater than 1.96. Now, similarly for 1988 data, if you were to just estimate it as a cross-sectional data, you would get this estimated equation. When you do the difference regression, FR 1988 minus FR 1982 regressed over tax 1988, Beer tax 1988 minus Beer tax 1982, you get this new equation. Now notice that the beta coefficient, it was positive over here and it has become negative over here. Over here the brackets have shifted a bit. This is actually the standard error for this, and this is the standard error for this. Okay, and you will notice that over here it is definitely statistically significant. So if you put changes in fatality rate on your y-axis and changes in Beer tax on your x-axis, and you plot the data along with the regressed line, you find that the regressed line is now has a negative slope. Okay. Now we will come to, but this is this kind of two periods data. We just talked about two time periods. What happens if you have more than 2 time periods? In that case, you cannot do the changes specification because changes was only from one period to the next. What do you do when you have that one to the next? Which change do you look at? Or do you do it from 1 year to the next? It doesn't seem like you will get several beta coefficients. That doesn't seem like an efficient way of doing it. So what do you have? What do you do if you have more than 2 time periods? You specify a regression model where you say yit is equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 xit plus beta 2 zi. You remember the proxy variable that I was talking about? This is the beta 2 zi. So plus uit. So there will be you can so you can, it is a proxy variable. It could either, you could just do it using n-1 binary regressors. What is a binary regressor? It's a dummy variable. So you remember, if you have 48 states, you could include 47 dummy variables, one for each entity. That is the n-1 binary regressor model, or you could do it using something called the fixed effects regression model. So first we will talk about the fixed effects form. So the model is specified as follows. YIT is beta 0 plus, this is the population regression function, beta 0 plus beta 1 XIT plus beta 2 ZI plus UIT. So this is, now suppose we say we are only looking at California. Population regression for California, we are taking only, we substitute California for I everywhere. So YCAT is equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 x CAT plus beta 2 ZCA plus UCAT. So in some sense, this is like a time series data for California. So California, you have data for 1982, 83, 84, 85. So it is like one entity you are following through time. Okay. Over here, what happens is, see, this is not a function of t. So it doesn't change over t. Here, the y variable is only changing over t. So beta 0 plus beta 2 ZCA, you take within the bracket. That is a intercept, new intercept, which is dependent upon the constant intercept beta 0, and then some part of that intercept is dependent upon the fact that this particular equation is only for the California state. So you have beta 0 plus beta 2 ZCA. This is your new intercept. This intercept is specific to California, plus beta 1 XCAT plus UCAT. So you have YCAT is alpha CAT. We are introducing a new parameter alpha compared to beta, just to differentiate it from beta. Beta is common across all entities, but this is specific for California. So alpha CA plus beta 1 XCAT plus UCAT. Alpha CA, beta 0 plus beta 2 ZCA doesn't change over time. And now this ZCA can include within it all the aspects about California which do not change over time. For instance, the weather of California, the fact that California is on the western side of the US, the fact that, California, the GSDP is higher compared to some other states. Okay, it is on the western coast. All of these things, the quality of roads comparative to other states may not change, the relative quality of roads may not change so much. So all the factors about ZCA that does not change over time is captured within this new intercept. So alpha CA is the intercept for CA, and beta 1 is the slope. Beta 1, you will notice, is dependent both on the fact that it is for CA and on the time intercept. The intercept is unique to CA, but the slope is the same in all the states, parallel lines. Okay, we will see how that works. If instead of California you take Texas, so you have the same equation as above, except wherever it was for California, you substitute with Texas. So you have YTXT comma T is equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 X Texas comma T plus beta 2 Z Texas plus U Texas comma T. Now again you take the constant terms beta 0 plus beta 2 Z TX, you take them out, and you have plus beta 1 X Texas comma T plus U Texas comma T. So y Texas comma T is a new coefficient which is specific to Texas. Hence it is denoted by alpha subscript Texas plus beta 1 X Texas comma T plus U Texas comma T. Now you do a similar thing from Massachusetts. Here we had started, I forgot to say right at the beginning that we are considering only 3 states in the beginning, okay, to simplify the discussion. So y California comma T is equal to alpha California plus beta 1 X California comma T plus U California comma T. Similarly for Texas you have alpha Texas. For Massachusetts you have alpha Massachusetts. So you can, or in order to be more general, you can call it as YIT is alpha I, which is dependent upon the ith entity, plus beta 1 XIT. It depends. Now just see that beta 1, the coefficient for beta 1 across the California, all the states remains the same. So as we said before, there may be a slight break because I'm recording part of the lecture again. So for generality, we say yit is equal to alpha I plus beta 1 xit plus uit. Let us look at how this would look if we plotted, if we looked at the three regression lines. So the regression lines for each state in the picture, if you plot it, it will look like three parallel lines, and they have different intercepts. As you can see, the intercept for Alpha California is here, intercept for Alpha Texas is over here, and intercept for Alpha Massachusetts is over here. Okay, so the slopes remain the same. The slopes for each of these lines remains as beta 1x, here also beta 1x, here also beta 1x. So uh, as you this may remind you of other cases where we have used dummy variables. For instance, one of the cases where we used a dummy variable for gender, when we were looking at the effect of education, number of years of education on the income that an individual earns, and we added a dummy variable for whether that individual was a man or a woman. Then we found that if you just included the dummy variable for the gender, you might get two parallel lines, one for men and one for women. Okay, so these shifts in the intercept can be also represented. Either you can use it in this format where you specify a different intercept for each regression line, or you can also do it using binary regressors. Okay, so this is how. So now in the binary regressor form, you could specify a common intercept, and you could include dummy variables for California and for Texas. In this particular case, you are considering three states: California, Texas, and Massachusetts. Since you are considering three states, you drop one of the states, that is, you drop Massachusetts, and you include a dummy variable for California and a dummy variable for Texas, and then your independent variable of interest and your error term. So the dummy variable for California will take a value of 1 if the state is California and 0 otherwise, and dummy variable for Texas will take a value of 1 if the state is Texas and 0 otherwise. And you leave out the Massachusetts because otherwise you will run into a dummy variable trap, because there will be perfect multicollinearity. This is something that you are familiar from our discussions beforehand. So to summarize, there are two ways to write the fixed effects model. One is the n-1 binary regressor form, where yit is equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 xit plus gamma 2 d2i up to gamma n dni. You will notice that we have dropped the d1 category, and all the other categories are included. In the fixed effect form, you write yit as equal to beta 1 xit plus alpha I plus uit, where alpha I is called the state fixed effect or state effect. That is, it is the effect of it is how much the average fatality rate is higher because of the fact that the data is recorded from a particular state. Now, how do you estimate this? So there are again three estimation methods. You could include the n-1 binary regressors. You could do it using OLS regression. There is something called the entity demeaned OLS regression, and we will discuss what that is. Or you could do the changes specification if you have only two time periods. Okay, so in the changes specification, as we discussed before, you do not need an intercept. So you regress the changes in fatality rate over the changes in beer taxes. These three methods produce identical estimates of the regression coefficients and identical standard errors. So we did the changes specification already, and methods 1 and 2 work for general time period, not just for t equals to 2. Okay, and method 1 is only practical. You can use n minus 1 binary regressors when n isn't too big. So for instance, in this particular case, you have 48 US states. So you include 47 dummy variables, n minus 1. Okay. But suppose you are looking at uh, you are have panel data for 1,000 households which have been followed over a period of time. Now, in order to include a dummy variable for each entity, you would have to include 999 dummy variables. So you can imagine that would be a very awkward looking equation, and it would be sort of silly to do that. So in that particular case, what you do is you do something called the entity demeaned OLS regression, and we will discuss how that goes. So the n minus 1 binary regressors OLS regression, you specify your model like this: yit is beta 0 plus beta 1 xit plus gamma 2 d2i up to gamma n dni plus uit. First we create, how do you do it? You create the dummy variables, then you estimate this equation by including all of those dummy variables, and then you perform your hypothesis test and you look at your confidence intervals in the same way as with normal OLS regression, with multiple regression, and you use heteroscedasticity robust standard errors. In case there is heteroscedasticity, you just use heteroscedasticity standard errors. So this kind of method is impractical when you have a very large number of entities that you are looking at. Now we look at something that is called entity demeaned OLS regression. Now, in the fixed effects regression model, we said yit is equal to beta 1 xit plus some entity level effect, which is denoted by alpha I, plus uit. Now, basically what we are trying to do, when you sum up this entire all the data points over time and divide by t, that is, you look at the average fatality rate, how it is related to the average beer tax over time, then that will also satisfy, because all you are doing is an arithmetic you are doing some arithmetic calculations over the here, computations. Okay, so it will not change anything if you summarize it over time and you uh, divide the whole thing by time t, then this is what your equation will look like. Now what so basically what you do is you are interested in the average over time values for xit and yit for a given entity I. Okay, so average yit x, so you create something called xt bar, not for, is equal to, for the ith entity is summation t equals to 1 to t capital T divided by 1 by t xit, and y t bar for the ith entity is 1 by t capital T equals to 1 to t y I t. Okay. So you are basically saying, suppose you say you take a particular entity, California. Now, California, you have uh, 1982 data, 1983 data, so on and so forth, up to 1988 data. YIT is, say, fatality rate is 2.2%, you have 2.19%, you have 3%, whatever. The California fatality rates are like this. You take the average of all of this. So you sum it up over time and you divide. So you have 1 by 7 multiplied by 2.2% plus so on and so forth up to 3.0%. Similarly, you do XIT, you sum it up and you divide it by the total. So XIT says 1.4%, 1.8%. You sum it up and you have the average over time. Now, basically what you are trying to do is you are trying to subtract the averaged quantity, the averaged fatality rate and the averaged beer tax from the from each of these data points. So suppose your average fatality rate comes out to be 2% and your average beer tax comes out to be 1.5%. So from each case you do 2.2% minus 2%, that is 0.2%. So this is called the entity demeaned, that is you are subtracting the average. You are taking away the mean. So entity demeaned value, and 2.19%, this is 0.19%, this is 1%. This is the entity demeaned y variable and this is the entity demeaned x variable. This is minus 0.1%, this is 0.3% and so on. Okay. So these are the entity demeaned values. So deviation. So here we are talking about deviation from entity averages. You are taking the average and you are taking away the average from the. So basically the idea is this. You are not really interested in the absolute values, but the variation in the specific year quantities from the average of that particular entity. So this is what you do. You demean this thing, and if you do that, now what will happen? Basically, you are subtracting this minus this. Alpha I and alpha I are being cancelled. UIT UIT minus 1 by T UIT. So this is what you have. Beta 1 into XIT minus 1 by T X summation XIT. So this is what you have. So you call this new variable, you call it y tilde it, and this new variable you call it x tilde it, and y tilde it is equal to beta 1 x tilde it plus u tilde it. So these are just new variables that you have created. Just like you did it in the changes specification, you created a new dependent variable and a new independent variable. Here also you are creating new dependent variables. These x tilde it and y tilde it are called entity demeaned data. Okay, you are taking away the mean for that particular entity. So for I equals to 1 and t equals to 1982, y tilde it is the difference between the fatality rate in Alabama in 1982 and its average value in Alabama averaged over all 7 years. So so this is what y tilde it is this. First we construct the entity. How do you estimate it? You construct the entity demeaned variables yit tilde and xit tilde. Then estimate 2 by regressing yit tilde on xit tilde using OLS. Like the changes approach as I said before. And standard errors need to be computed in a way that accounts for the panel nature of the data set. Okay. So this can be done in a single command in Stata, or it can be done in R also, okay, by creating a panel data object. The reason this works is basically we are trying to say is that if beer taxes were increased in a particular year, in a particular state, keeping all the other factors about that state constant, such as the quality of roads, the culture of drinking and driving, did the fatality rate actually change? Because one year, compared to the averages in other years, in one year the beer taxes were increased. So, did the fatality rate either go down or go up, or how did it work? Okay, so this is how it works. Traffic deaths and beer taxes in Stata. You let Stata know you're working with panel data. Okay, and you create a panel object. This you do in R also, and you indicate which is your entity, what is your entity, and which is your time variable. Then you regress fatality rate over beer taxes, and in this particular case you get a coefficient, as you can see, minus 0.6558736. So what we expected, that as beer taxes went up, your fatality rate would go down. So that is what we are seeing, and it is also statistically significant. As we can see, it is statistically significant at the 95% confidence level. So, so this is what, for n equals to 48, t equals to 7. This is how it is, minus 0.66 beer tax plus state fixed effects. There are some state fixed effects. This is, we are not really worried about it, but there are some state fixed effects. So should you, how many binary regressors would you include to estimate this using the binary regressor method? As we said, you would include 48 minus 1, 47 binary regressors. So if we compare this with the 2 years data, that 2 years changes specification, if we had only time t equals to 2, we can see that actually the coefficient was much higher in that particular case. The coefficient in terms of magnitude, the coefficient was larger over there, while the coefficient here is 0.66. Now here is some data about the different beer taxes in different states of the US. This is for your interest if you want to look at it. Okay, so we will stop here for now, and the next will be in the next lecture.